Sure. So, welcome everyone. We are so excited to be here today, actually hosting our very first event as a team at EXP. And we have a variety of agents, a variety of lenders, a variety of industry professionals that are joining us. So thank you everyone for being here. We're fortunate enough to have Eric Lofholm here with us today, and he's going to this is our kickoff event. I'm going to, in a moment, let Colby introduce him. Before we get there, though, I thought I would just take a moment. Most of you, well, some of you know me, maybe not most of you, but I thought I would just say who I am. My name is Eva Casoria, and I have been in real estate for about 16 years now. I was introduced kicking and screaming by my cousin Rick Jiha, who insisted that I would be good at this, and hopefully he was right. I now run a small but powerful team out of New York and Connecticut. I do see a few of my team members here, so thanks for joining, Erica, Bill. Most importantly, and most recently, I've been lucky enough to have my kids join me in this real estate endeavor. And they are both here today. I see Dylan's on the call. So maybe Dylan, if you want to just say a quick hello. You have to unmute yourself first, though.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dylan. So I've been working for about 1.5 years, 2 years with her now on the team. I'm fully licensed in New York, and I operate in an admin role. And Colby helps us in the growth side of things. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to be able to help.
Excellent. And then, of course, Colby is also here, and I'm going to give Colby the opportunity to introduce herself as well. I do want to just say that the team that I run here is EMC Homes team, and that's actually an acronym for my initials, but also Every Move Counts. We do anywhere from about 30 million to 36 million in transactions a year. Key players, as I just mentioned, are Bill and Erica, and I'm sure we'll get to know them more in the further into the call or in the future. So, Colby?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Colby Casoria. I've been licensed for almost 7 years now. And after graduating Penn State, I went full-time into the music industry, where I spent 7 years. And in 2021, pivoted my focus towards real estate and coaching, and have been working with my mom and brother and her team in a growth capacity and helping with operations and all that jazz. And we'll be running more of these events in the future, so be very involved in that as well. And while I have the mic, let me just let these couple other people in. But while I have the mic, I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce Eric. So Eric Lofholm is our guest today, and we are feeling very lucky to have him talking with us about mindset and how to set strategic goals and take massive action that sticks in 2024. He is a best-selling author, a master of sales training, and the president and CEO of Eric Lofholm International, which is a company that he launched to train thousands of salespeople on the art and science of selling. He's also the co-host of the Brent Gove podcast. Shout out Brent. He's my sponsor, our sponsor at EXP, and he's on here as well. I think they've done like 500 episodes or something amazing like that. Anyway, so Eric boasts over 25 years in commission sales, 20 years professionally training salespeople in over 20 countries. He's written 15 books. He's made an astounding 100,000 cold calls in his life and career, and led over 1,000 training webinars. So we're feeling really lucky that he's here with us today. And before I hand over the mic to him, just as Eric's speaking today, we want to make this as interactive and enriching experience for you all as possible. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end of the call. But without further delay, here's Eric.
All right, Colby, thank you so much for the the great introduction. And if you could, I have a slide deck that I prepared. And so if you could make me a co-host or whatever we do with the Zoom stuff to have it. And while that's coming up,
Yeah, you should be able to share now. I just gave you permission.
okay, perfect. I have been teaching planning for 20 years now. And I have a great presentation for all of you today, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to share these ideas. And so let's jump right into our program. We're working on creating our 2024 plan. And my intention is that this information is worth at least 10 transactions to you between now and the end of your career. So over the next 60 to 90 minutes, if I could share ideas and you take action on those ideas that generated 10 transactions. And for some of you, it'll be more. But if that would be a good use of 60 to 90 minutes, just type yes in the chat. If you're like, you know what, Eric, yes, that would be a great use of my time if I could pick up an extra 100 grand or more just from the ideas that I'm going to talk about. And why I believe that that's possible is that when you learn a good idea, you have the benefit of that idea for the rest of your life. And I was on a coaching call with an EXP agent about a year and a half ago, and he's a six-figure earner, very successful. And he said to me in the call, I block out 4 to 5 to prospect every day, but I never do it. And what he wasn't understanding is that statement is a declaration. And if you're a note taker, just jot the word declaration in your notes. And a declaration, it's kind of like an affirmation, except it's 10 times more powerful. And it is a position that we're coming from. It's a state of being. And so we're declaring things, you are and I am, we're declaring things all day, every day. And he was declaring that he was not going to do his prospecting calls. And so somebody like that, this is a successful human being, comes to the coaching call and says, hey, Eric, I need some coaching. What do you need the coaching on? Well, I'm having a hard time with my prospecting. Well, what's going on? Well, I block the time out and I never do it. You see, your brain, it works like a GPS. And this is why books like Think and Grow Rich, the title is so important. Think and Grow Rich. You've all heard about the importance of mindset. Tony Robbins says success is 80% why, 20% how. And so the why has to do with the mindset, because the language that we have in our mind, our self-talk or our journaling or our speaking out loud, is what's driving the bus on our actions. And so I'm going to give you some insights to some things that I've learned. I've been studying the mind since 1988. So I just love learning things from the Tony Robbinses of the world. And I've studied many people like Tony. And I'm going to pass along that information to you. In some cases, when I'm going to get into prospecting a little bit later on, I'm going to share something with you that took me 15 years to figure out how to prospect without fear. And that might be an issue for some of you of fear of rejection. It's very common. It's the number one reason why sales professionals don't do more prospecting when they know it's important. It comes down to fear of rejection. But what if you had no fear? And so I'm going to teach that to you a little bit later on today. Like I said, it took me 15 years making call after call after call after call with anxiety to learn how to break through that. So we're going to have some fun today. Why create a written plan? Well, it increases the odds of your success. And then on the screen there, it says micro improvement. Fall in love with micro improvements. Anything that can get you a little bit better. Anything that can, micro improvements like microscope. It's so small, you need a special device, a microscope to see it. A micro improvement. Anything get you just a little bit better, like having your goals in front of you on a daily basis. I've got my whiteboard in front of me. And so I subconsciously am seeing my goals in front of me as I'm working throughout the day. That's a micro improvement. It's a little thing, but those little things add up. ideas can compound. Ideas can build on each other. And then once you learn the idea, you have the idea forever. So I have two outcomes for the training today. One, I'm going to give you some great ideas to work on your plan. And I think you're going to love the content. When the content's done, I think you're going to go, I'm so glad I got invited to this class. So I'm going to really deliver for you guys. And then there's nothing for sale today, but I do have 3 free next steps. So if you like what you hear, you're like, wow, I really enjoyed, Eric, what you had to say. How else can I connect with you? And so I have some free steps for any of you that do want to stay in touch. So this is one of my coaches. He is the most knowledgeable person I've ever found on how the mind works and why we do what we do. His name is Steve Hardison. And he charged, I did a 10-hour coaching program with him, one-on-one. He only coaches in person, and he lives in Arizona. So that means I had to get on an airplane 4 times, fly to Arizona to sit with this man for 2.5 hours. And for 10 hours of coaching, it was $45,000. And the reason why I was willing to make that investment was because I believed in those 10 hours, even though it was only 10 hours, he was going to share insights with me that were going to help me to be more successful for the rest of my life. So I'm going to share with you one of my biggest takeaways from my investment of $45,000 with Steve that I think it may create a major breakthrough for you. And it's this idea, and I'll put it in the Zoom chat and I'm going to explain it. And this is all about mindset. And what he said to me is he said, Eric, let's reverse engineer results. Because we all want results on this call. We all want better results. We want to be more successful. I do too. So he goes, what creates results? And we were exploring it, but it was not really an exploration. It was more teaching, right? Eric, what creates results is action. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I get that. He goes, but Eric, what's upstream from action? And I didn't know. And he said, thought or language. So if you say, I am inconsistent as a declaration, that's above action. So the world's going to occur for you as being inconsistent. See, I'm not inconsistent. I'm consistent. I am massive action as a declaration. So that's a choice. Our state of being is a choice always. And we're always being. So you get to choose, like right now on this call, you get to choose what type of student are you going to be? Because I'm going to deliver at my highest level. Your experience is going to be massively influenced by the student that you choose to be during our session. So as we go through the day, we get to decide, am I going to be motivated? Am I going to have a positive attitude? Like last night when I was coming back from a concert in San Francisco, and it's a 2-hour drive to my home from the concert. And at 12:15 in the morning, we got a flat tire. So we need to get a tow truck, drop it off at the tire place, get an Uber. I didn't get home till 2:40 last night. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. And I can choose, how am I going to show up today? I'm going to deliver. That's my choice. Okay, so if you say I'm not good at prospecting, which is a very common statement that a real estate agent would make, the problem with I'm not good at prospecting is that thought, number 3, it's above action. So how are you going to show up in prospecting if your statement is, I'm not very good at prospecting? You're going to be about a tenth as powerful as you could be. And this is why I've been studying the mind for so many years, however many years it's been, 1988, I started studying it because I wanted to learn, because I'm a former cook at McDonald's college dropout. My life was heading nowhere. And now I get to do business with people like Brent Gove and Steve Hardison, that coach I just showed you. And I'm not sharing that as a brag point, just as what's possible if we really work on the mind. So what's upstream from action is thought or language. And then what Steve Hardison taught me is what's upstream from thought or language is being, as in state of being, or in simple terms, the position that you're coming from. So we come from a position always. If you're married like me, you're coming from a position in your marriage. Your position could be, my marriage is, it's okay. You're coming from a position with your kids if you have kids. You're coming from a position as a real estate agent. If you're doing agent attraction, you're coming from a position with agent attraction. Some people say, I want to do agent attraction, but I'm focused exclusively on producing right now, and I just don't have time for agent attraction. Well, if that's the language, what's the action going to be? Focusing on production and not on agent attraction. What's the result in agent attraction going to be? 0. All being created out of language. So this is a really fascinating deep dive, and we could spend an hour on this, but we're not going to because I've got a lot more to teach you guys. So I want you to just notice as you go through your day today, what are you saying? Like I talked to this woman today on a coaching call, and she was telling me how frustrated she was. And when I got my flat tire last night, I wasn't frustrated. It was it was inconvenient, but I wasn't frustrated because sometimes the tire blows on our car. It really wasn't a big deal. All right, so we're going to do a little exercise, and I'm just going to have you guys listen. You're likely muted right now. You can just listen. So if we were in a hotel ballroom right now, like a Marriott down in San Diego where I used to live, I would say good morning. You guys would say good morning back at a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. So I'd go, good morning, everyone. And then you guys would say good morning back at a 6. And then I'd say, okay, let's do it again. And now we're going to play to level 8. I'm going to say good morning. You say good morning back at an 8. Good morning. And then you say good morning back at an 8. And then we do it one last time at a 10, the level 10 exercise. And I go, good morning, everyone. And then you guys would roar back, good morning, or good afternoon for those of you on the East Coast. So you'd say good afternoon back at a level 10. So imagine we just did that. First time we played at a 6, last time we played at a 10. So my question for all of you, as you've been working your real estate business on a daily basis over the last 30 days, what level have you been playing at? In the area of attitude and enthusiasm, something you have 100% control over the last 30 days, what level have you been playing at? In the area of prospecting, over the last 30 days, what level have you been playing at? Because my belief is you get out of life what it is that you put into it, and all the rewards are for those that play full out. And who decides what level we play at on a daily basis? And of course, the answer is we do. Now, if there was ever a time to give it your all in real estate, it's right now. That's what this market requires. This market, from my view, it requires the best version of you. So level 10 is a position to come from. In other words, our effort that we're bringing forth. And so I measure effort in my mind. I play at a 7, 8, 9, or 10 every day. Every day, my minimum standard for myself is a 7. So I show up in life at a 7, an 8, a 9, or a 10 consistently. I don't have level 3 days. That's a decision that I make. It's a choice. So you may have never been introduced to this idea as a distinction of measuring effort daily. So I'm just curious, how many of you, knowing the landscape right now, what's happening in real estate, are going, you know what? I need to step up right now. I need to bring a higher energy, effort, action level of me. If that's you, type the word yes in the chat. If you're like, you know what? I got to bring a higher level of effort to my business right now. And here's the beautiful thing of that. It's a decision. And it's a level playing field. In other words, it doesn't matter if you're brand new in real estate or you're a seasoned professional. Your effort level, it has nothing to do with how much money you have in your bank account. It has nothing to do with interest rates or market conditions. You get to decide the effort level that you bring, and it's available for all of us. This concept that is shared with you, that's something that I gleaned from Tony Robbins. I actually used to work for Tony. I was employed by Tony from 1996 to 1998, and I learned a lot about peak performance from Tony Robbins. Okay, let's jump into some actual nuts and bolts, fundamental planning techniques. So it's going to start off with our good old-fashioned income goal for 2024. If you want to right now, jot it down. You could always change it. You don't need to put it in the chat. Just write on a piece of paper, type it on your computer. What is your income goal for 2024? And then looking at your income goal, it's how many transactions do I need to do in order to hit my goal? And then if any of you you're getting rev share, if you happen to be building an organization, then you'd have income from rev share, you'd have income from production, or maybe just have income just from rev share. So at the end of the day, what's the income goal and what's the breakdown? Is it all going to come from production, or is it going to come from production and agent attraction, or is it all going to come from agent attraction? And then we want to look at how many appointments do we need to run in order to hit our income goal. So how many people do you need to get in front of to talk to about helping them buy a home if you do work with buyers, or sell a home if you work with sellers, however you do that? How many appointments need to be run? And this is factoring in your close ratio. So with a qualified prospect, if you close at 80%, you would factor in your closing ratio based on the number of transactions you need to do. And what this does is it gives you a snapshot of what does the activity look like. Because a lot of people say, I want to make $100,000, or I want to make 10 grand a month, or sometimes it's higher than that, right? But have they taken the time to actually look at what does that look like? So I'm a sales trainer. So for my income goals and revenue goals for my company next year, I've broken it down. How much in coaching and how much in corporate training. And I have a snapshot of what does that revenue actually look like on paper. You can advance an idea further on paper or on your computer than you can in your mind. All right. I'm making a logical sales argument for why to get out your pen and journal, or type it on your computer if you prefer to capture your ideas that way. You can advance an idea further on paper or on your computer than in your mind. So instead of just saying, I want to make 100 grand or 250 or 500 or a million or whatever your number is, let's write it down. Let's look at what does the activity look like, so you can go into 2024 with a good understanding of what does success look like for you next year. So this is one of my favorite goal setting distinctions. And a lot of you may have never heard of this one before. It's called the slice and dice distinction. A distinction is an understanding beyond common knowledge. So let's say you want to do one real estate transaction a month for 2024. So 12 deals. So if I was coaching you, I'd say, okay, 12 deals, one a month. You've got a clear understanding of what this looks like. And now where's the business going to come from? So like networking, if you're a networker, you go, I'm going to get 4 from networking. Past clients, I'm going to get 4 from past clients. Okay, now we're up to 8. I'm going to get 2 from referrals. Now we're up to 10. I'm going to get 1 from social media. And I'm going to get 1 from procession. Okay, procession is a new idea for many of you. Procession, I learned it from somebody who learned it from a gentleman named Bucky Fuller. Buckminster Fuller was one of the world's greatest thinkers. I never met him, but I met somebody who met him. And they taught me this idea called procession. And the definition of procession is bodies in motion affecting bodies in motion. And what it means in plain English is something falling into your lap. So you know how every once in a while a deal will just fall into our lap? Just in the flow of our life, this out of the blue call. I had a meeting with I used to work at McDonald's, and I met with my old store manager, and hadn't seen him in decades. And I enjoyed him. We were friends, even though I was employed for him and he was my manager. And anyway, we're having coffee at McDonald's the other day. And I was there for a social visit. He goes, Eric, I've been watching all the motivational stuff you do on social media, on Facebook. And I think I want to hire you to train my store managers. That's procession. I didn't go to that meeting expecting that he was going to hire me. He wasn't even a prospect in my mind. He has store managers at a McDonald's. That's procession. So one way to make the magic happen in your life, and it's not magic, but it's like magic, is you get with people one-on-one. You get with people one-on-one and you have a conversation with them about real estate. And when you're getting with people one-on-one, things are going to open up for you. So like me having coffee with my old McDonald's store manager. And that might be a specific action step for you to increase for 2024. I need to get more time one-on-one with people having real estate conversations. So let me just check in with you. How many of you, and this is either real estate conversation or agent attraction. Okay, we're going to group them in together. How many of you would recognize for 2024 to achieve your goals, you need to have more conversations than you did this year? And if that's you, just type the word yes to the chat. If like, you know what, Eric, I need to have more real estate conversations. And if that's you, then what you might do is you might come up with a specific goal. Like I want to have a real estate conversation a week, one-on-one with somebody, or 2 a week, or 3 a week, or 1 a day. I built my sales training company from scratch out of a spare bedroom in my condo. That's how I got started 25 years ago. And nobody had heard of me. I was 28 years old and I built an international training company. And I'll tell you how I did it. I played a game called Give One Sales Training a Day, 5 days a week. Exactly what I'm doing with you guys right now. What we're doing here is back in 1999 when I launched, I said, I'm doing this once a day, 5 days a week for the next 40 years. And that created, if you're a note taker, it's called a conditional belief. A conditional belief. A conditional belief is a belief that it has a condition attached to it. So you might say, if I do 25 prospecting reach outs a day, 5 days a week, I will hit my real estate goal for 2024. That's a conditional belief. You're tying the achievement of the goal to a condition of an activity, 25 outreaches. And it solidified it in my mind. I was 28 years old and nobody had ever heard of me. I was just getting started. And I'm like, I'm going to build an international training company based on a conditional belief. If I give a speech, I'm like, if I did a speech a day, 5 days a week for 40 years, I definitely accomplished that. And then I went out and did it. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that can be you with prospecting outreach or real estate agent conversations, or having conversations with people about helping them buy or sell a home. It's a gamify. Gamification is an action strategy. Action is a learned skill. You can learn how to be massive action. Any of you could learn it if you really wanted to. You could. A lot of people never heard of that. Action is a learned skill. A lot of people declare, I'm inconsistent, I'm a procrastinator. They're literally declaring inaction without realizing it. So instead of declaring inaction, start telling yourself, if you want to, I am massive action, or I take more action, or 2024, it's going to be the year of action. And here's what's crazy. You do that one thing. If you're somebody who has been inconsistent and you change your language and you come from a position that you're massive action. So what does it mean to come from a position? Well, I am unconditional love with my 4 kids. I've got 3 teenagers and a 21-year-old. And without going into the story, because we don't have time, but I had a situation with my daughter, who's now 18. She was 17 at the time. And I'll just tell you what it was. She lives with me, and she texted me and said, I don't live with you anymore. I live with my mom. So I get this text out of the blue, and I go ballistic. And I'm angry. So I'm being angry. I'm coming from a position of anger. But my declaration is I'm unconditional love. So I had to sit with that. And I said, okay, I'm angry right now, but I am unconditional love. And I snapped my fingers and I shifted. That's the power of that formula of reverse engineering results. And I'll put it back up on the screen one more time. When you understand this to the point of execution, I take a cold shower every day. I drink black coffee in the morning. I don't like cold showers, and I don't like drinking black coffee. And I do it because that's a declaration for me. It's a position that I come from. You can get yourself to take action on command, because this is what's driving the bus. Whatever you're declaring, the position that you're coming from is what's driving the bus of your life. In your marriage, in your spiritual life, in your fitness, in your finances, in your real estate career. And what I love doing on calls like this or in one-on-one coaching is I love helping people discover themselves, to see a version of themselves that they didn't even know was there. A version that's disciplined, a version that takes action, a version of you that gets it done, that doesn't complain, that makes it happen, that treats your spouse in an amazing way, and that creates a reciprocation because of who you're being. All right, so let's get back to our planning here. So what this slice and dice does here, procession is building in your plan, just some things falling into your lap. Maybe you get 2 deals next year, just fall into your lap. All right. At the bottom there, it says it increases your belief. Because if you say, I want to do 1 transaction a month, and look, if you want to do 100, it's the same idea. Okay. Slice and dice 100. If I say I want to do 1 deal a month, 12 deals next year, and I look at, okay, I'm going to get this many from networking and this many from past clients and this many from referrals, and I can see how the business is going to come in, it raises my confidence. Because I'm looking at how this is going to flow for me, and with increased confidence, I'm going to take more action. So that's slice and dice. If you like slice and dice, this idea, just type the word yes in the chat. If you're like, you know what, Eric, that's a good idea. I like that idea. I see how slice and dice can help me. Okay. I'm going to see if
Eric, just a second, because
Yeah.
a couple questions came up in the chat that are kind of specific to what you're talking about.
Sure.
Someone, Desmarais posted that she has her problem is not following up. So would you have any advice on, if you're taking action, how do you actually continue to take that action? And maybe that's coming later in the call, but I just wanted to pause here in case it's worth talking about now.
Well, absolutely. It's relevant to all of us. And so we all need to follow up. And so we have the position that we're coming from. So a position that would create not being effective at follow-up is, I feel like I'm bothering the person, right? Or they'll contact me when they're ready. I don't do it like that. If I want something, I go get it. Always. If I want something in my life, I go get it. And so I'm not concerned with how they're going to feel about me. Like, Eric's contacting me too much. Like that fear of how they're going to react. Because what I do, and I'll just let you guys know how to let go of fear of prospecting. If any of you want to let go of fear of prospecting, because I prospected for over a decade early in my career, made tens of thousands of prospecting reach outs with fear and anxiety. And I had fear and anxiety because I didn't know another way to think about it. And it was my job, and it's how I fed my family. So I needed to prospect despite the fear. So it's kind of like feel the fear and do it anyway. If you guys have ever heard that book by Susan Jeffers, I was feeling the fear and doing it anyway, but it didn't feel good. So now when I prospect, what I finally figured out was the fear for me, probably for you, if you have fear of prospecting, it's coming from anticipating how the other person's going to respond. So if I anticipate that they're going to say no, here's the problem. The rhythm of prospecting is no, 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 yes. So most of the time we get a no, or they ignore us. So if you're afraid of the no, guess what? That's what you're getting most of the time, because that's the business. So what I finally figured out was, instead of focusing on the other person, I'm going to focus on my activity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to acknowledge myself. So when I prospect, I win. When I book the appointment, I double win. I win no matter what. So today I'm going to reach out to 25 or more people. I'm going to get 25 wins. And let's say I book 2 appointments. I'm going to get 2 double wins. I'm going to get 27 wins in my day. And here's how many losses I'm going to get. 0. I'm not going to get any losses. And sometimes when I get a quote unquote loss, what I do, instead of focusing on the loss, I focus on the other 15 good things I did that day to make the world a better place. In other words, I had a Zoom like this one that we're all on right now, and it didn't make it on my calendar. And the guy texts me, he goes, Eric, where are you? Because I didn't show up because it wasn't on my calendar. And I was out driving, and there was just no way I could, in that moment, get on that Zoom and deliver. And I said, look, I apologize. I screwed up. I can't be there. So that's a pretty big screw up when you no-show big group of Zoom like this, right? And instead of me focusing on that screw up, although I did screw up, I focused on the other 15 positive things I did to make the world a better place. And some of you, what you do is you put a magnifying glass on your little missteps, and you're doing all these awesome things to provide for your family and to work with your clients, and you're not spotlighting that, and you're spotlighting, and then you're wondering why you're not feeling good about yourself. And so I'm not going to focus on the other person. I'm going to focus on my activity, and I'm going to acknowledge myself, and who I'm being is my number one cheerleader. And here's who a lot of people are being: their harshest critic. And they don't realize it's a declaration because they never had somebody like me talk to them about a declaration. And I never would have understood about declaration had I not paid that guy Hardison the 45 grand, because I never heard of it. And then when he taught it to me, I was like, wow. So if any of you are hard on yourself, it's probably from back when you're age 4, 5, 6, or 7, and it got into the mind, and it was like a survival mechanism. But now you're in your 40s or your 50s or your 60s or however old you are, and it's just no longer true. So you could choose to be your number one cheerleader. So what does that look like? When you criticize yourself, you remind yourself, no, that's not who I am. I forgive myself for criticizing myself. And you let it go, and you be your number one cheerleader. So I get to walk around all day, every day winning, being successful, because I have all these mechanisms to win that don't require a closed sale. A closed sale probably requires 9 or 10 yeses. You got to get 9 or 10 yeses to get a closed sale. And you could have the first 9 or the first 8. You don't get the last one. You did awesome. So these are just some different perspectives to think about. Was there one other question? Then I'll get back to the training.
Yeah, I think the other question was, you had mentioned with procession, really, having one-on-one conversations with people about real estate and the things that you're working on. And, how specific do you get in those conversations, or is it more about connecting?
Yeah, so I am really intentional with how I am as a human being. So what I will do is I will go into a communication like I'm with all of you right now, and I'm being very intentional. I have my slide deck of the things I want to cover. I have my business outcome, which is offering you a free next step if anybody wants to continue the conversation. And so I'm going to deliver with enthusiasm, and I know what I'm going to say, when I'm going to say it, how I'm going to say it, why I'm going to say it. Not necessarily scripted word for word, but I always go in with a plan. So in the example with the McDonald's manager, I didn't go in with a business outcome because I was just there socially, but procession kicked in. If you're having a specific real estate conversation, I would go in with an outline of the key points you want to cover in the order you want to cover them in, and I would have an outcome for that conversation. And one of my outcomes would be to be their real estate solution for life. That's a position to come from. So my realtor on the house I'm in now, he did a lease option. He helped me do a lease option. We had some problems with the financing, and my wife and I found our dream home, and we couldn't get the financing. And my realtor says, hey, why don't we do a lease option? And I'm thinking, and I'm Mr. Optimistic. I'm like, that's never going to work. The house had been on the market for 9 days in a gated community, fairly priced, in a great school district. So it's a wonderful home. 9 days in the market, they're not going to take a lease option. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, swing the bat, throw the Hail Mary pass, whatever. And he offers the lease option and they accepted. And then 2 years later, the option was up and we got the money together and we were able to buy the home. So the agent, this agent, like, really delivered. And I haven't heard from him since we closed. So that tells me I don't know this for sure, but it seems like his mindset is transactional. The position he's coming from is he's looking for his next deal versus being a real estate solution for life. Because if he was my real estate solution for life, if he was coming from that position, he would have systems in place to stay in touch with me. So what I would advise you to do is, the mindset is I turn 1 deal into 4. Every transaction I do, there's 3 transactions behind it over time through repeat and referral business. That's an intention. That's a position to come from, and it requires strategy. So you have to learn it. You got to get coached on it by somebody like myself, or you got to learn it from somebody that knows how to do that. And then you bring the systems in, and then you go out and you execute on that. Well, that's all gets created in language. So if you're note taking, it's, I'm their real estate solution for life. I turn 1 deal into 4 or 5 or 10 or whatever you want. I turn 1 deal into 4. And then you create the systems in place to produce those results. And there's a lot of ways to do it. Some people do it with email marketing, and some people do it with networking. And some people do it with, they really focus on their church community. And some do it with open houses. And some do it with social media. And some do it with door knocking. And there's so many different ways to do it. You don't need to do all of it. Just find the strategies that resonate for you. I do public speaking to grow my business. That's my prospecting because I love it. So I'm playing to my strength. So build in as a part of your marketing strategy. So think about, well, what are my strengths and what are the systems that I need? And then you put the plans in place in order to go and create it. All right, let me jump back in. I want to share some more ideas with you guys. And this one is a really cool thing about making money as an agent and mindset. So I had a client, a real estate agent I worked with for a year. And we were in, I think, August. And I was wanting him to work on his goals for the next year, like what we're doing today. And he goes, well, Eric, it's August. I don't want to give up on this year. And I said, well, I'm not asking you to give up on this year. That's not what I'm saying, but I was just saying, why don't we do the goals for August? So what we co-created, and I've never done this with a client, but we created a 2-year goal. So what he had done year to date to August, and then the next 4 months, and then the next year. And we created, we're going to do 25 million in real estate production. So he had shared with me in coaching, he does deals $1 million or under. And so when he declared 25 million, so he's coming from a position, I produced 25 million over 24 months. And we get on another coaching call and he goes, I cold called a $5 million expired listing. And I said, no, you didn't. He goes, no, Eric, I did. I said, that's impossible. You're the guy who does million and under. You're not going to go all of a sudden cold call a $5 million deal. What are you talking about? He goes, no, I did. I said, what happened? He goes, well, when we worked on my mindset of 25 million over 2 years, I realized the fastest way to get to the 25 million was to do larger deals. So here's the point. My experience of many real estate agents is they have a mindset of the size of the deal that they go after. So I was coaching an agent the other day. She's in Texas. I think her deals were like 300,000 to 600,000. That was what she went after. And I said, okay, are there deals bigger than that in your community? Yeah, there's deals up to like $2 million, $3 million. Well, she wasn't prospecting any of them. And it was all mindset. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. I said, is the contract pretty much the same on a $3 million deal as a $600,000 deal? The actual paperwork? Yeah. Is the commission essentially the same? Yeah. Do you put, if you got that listing for 4 million, would you put more open house signs out, or would you put the same number of signs out? She goes, I put the same number of signs out. I said, the person with the $4 million property to list and the 600,000, they both have a problem they need solved. And I said to her, I said, listen, I want you to go start prospecting some, $2, $3, $4 million listings as an exercise in thinking. Because look, yeah, it's possible you could get your first one, but if you've never done that big of a deal, they're probably not going to go with you. I mean, maybe they would, but probably not. But that doesn't matter. Thoreau taught us, once the mind expands, it will never return to its original size. So when she goes out and does a $3 million listing presentation, she's going to grow. Her mind's going to grow. And after she's done 5 or 6, she's going to make, there's no difference between a $3 million deal or a $600,000 deal. It's a human being that has a want, need, or problem. I have clients like Brent, who's on our line here. I have another client who runs a $100 million software company. And when I'm being with them just like I would anyone else. They happen to be, achieving the highest levels of success in business, but we're all human beings. We're all dealing with the same type of mindset. It's different, more successful. Maybe it's a bigger deal. But so what I want you to do, this could massively change your career, is to go after some larger opportunities beyond your comfort zone as an exercise in thinking, and watch what happens to your mindset. Your mindset will shift. It will adapt. And if any of you are wanting to age in attraction, but you haven't been doing it, there's a mindset around age and attraction. So you could create that mindset around age and attraction, similar to what I'm talking about right now. And what I'm telling you right now, this one thought about the size of the deals that you're going after, it could change everything for you. So let me go to the prospecting, then we can use our remaining time for however our host wants to use it, or we can do Q&A, whatever we want to cover. I want to go into prospecting mindset. And I touched on this earlier. And the thing about prospecting, it's a skill set. So if an agent says, I'm not good at prospecting, and they connect with that as their identity, right? They're probably not going to go to prospecting class. But if an agent believes that prospecting is a skill set, which it is, negotiation is a skill set, open house is a skill set, listing presentations is a skill set, working with buyers is a skill set, and anything that's a skill set can be learned, and you can get better at it with practice. So with prospecting, let me just check in with you. How many of you would acknowledge there is room for you to improve in prospecting? If you would acknowledge that, just type the word yes in the chat. In fact, you know what, Eric, if I'm honest, there is some room for me to improve in prospecting. Prospecting is one of the greatest skill sets you could ever have. Because what it does is it allows you to go after any prospect, no matter how successful they are, how much real estate, the size of their real estate deals. If you're doing agent attraction, how successful the agent is. Prospecting, it's a game changer in what it opens up for you. And I'm gonna tell you a story here in a minute of a miracle that I created for my son and I because of my prospecting skills. So I mentioned this earlier, that the reason that people don't do more prospecting is fear of rejection. And I'm going to give you another cool distinction. It's called sit with it, be with it. If you're taking notes, you can jot that down. Sit with it, be with it. And I got this from Werner Erhard, and he was the creator of EST, which is now Landmark Forum. He was a Tony Robbins-like human being that moved the world. He started the Hunger Project, which still is in existence, which is a vision to end world hunger. He's still alive. I watched some YouTube videos of him. You can find him on YouTube, Warner Earhart. Sit with it, be with it. What it means is you sit with something like, let's say you go, I don't like how I look on video. Common belief somebody would have. Video is a wonderful way to grow your real estate business. You do an open house, you pull out the phone, you do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live. You're at a real estate conference, you pull out the phone. Hey, everybody, I'm at this conference, becoming the best real estate agent I can be. There's all kinds of ways to use video, all right? Well, a lot of people come from a position of, I don't like how I look on video. So they just accept that as their lot in life. It's just the way it is. It's never going to be any different. I'm just stuck, not liking how I look on video. So you sit with it, be with it. So you go, do I really not like how I look on video? And you're like, yes, I don't like how I look on video. Okay. Is it possible I can become more comfortable with video? Is it possible? And you just explore it. I don't know if it is or isn't for you. I'm not you. And then you go, if I was to get good at video, who are some agents out there that are good at doing video that I could learn from? What courses could I take on? You're just sitting with this thought about video, and you're looking at it from all these different angles. And could I get good at video? Is that even possible? Do I want to get good at video? Is there any reason to? If I got good at video, what would that mean for me? So I would invite you to sit with and be with prospecting. And go, am I good at prospecting? Whatever your answer is, could I get better? If I was to get better, what would that look like? What would my mindset need to be? What position would I need to come from? What would my language need to be? What would my prospecting goals need to be? My plan today is 25 outreaches. That's my plan Monday through Friday. So do you think that makes a difference that I wake up every day with a prospecting plan? Makes a big difference. Because I know exactly what I want to accomplish. I know if I hit it, exceeded it, or I know if I fell short. Some days I fall short. Some days I hit it. Some days I exceed it. So this is what I shared with you earlier, and I'll put it in the Zoom chat. Where this could be life-changing for you is to not treat it as an affirmation. Because I can say, I'm unconditional love to my kids. And then let's see here. Okay, let's go that way. There we go. Okay. I could say, as an affirmation, I'm unconditional love to my kids. And then my kid brings home a C on their report card, and I blow up at him. And then you say to me, Eric, I thought you affirm your unconditional love to your kids. And I go, yeah, I do affirm it. But I'm not declaring it. See, a declaration is a position to come from. So if I'm being unconditional love and my kid brings home a C and I blow up at my kids, if I'm being unconditional love, I need to go clean that up with my kid. Hey, Sarah, I apologize. I got triggered. Your C got me afraid for your future, and I'm sorry that I took that out on you, and I would approach it. I would be something different with her after I blew up at her. But you know what a lot of people do? They go, it's just the way I am. And that's actually not true, because state of being is a choice. So you go, I just get angry. I just get frustrated. I'm inconsistent. I can't do this. I can't do that. I don't like how I look on video. It's not true. Well, it's not that it's not true. It's that you could shift it if you wanted. There's choice there. So if you actually took this on, I'm going to focus on my activity, not on how the other person responds. When I prospect, I win. When I book the appointment, I double win. I win no matter what. What you focus on in prospecting, it's everything. So I have this agent that I'm coaching the other day. and he's telling me how he needs to door knock. He wants to door knock. I'm not telling him to door knock. He's telling me he needs to do this. I go, okay, great, then go door knock. And he's concerned about how the people are going to respond to him. Fear of rejection. Here's how strong your thoughts are. I said to him, if I gave you $100 to go knock a door, would you do it? He go, absolutely. I said, okay, for reals then. For real. If you knock a door in the next 24 hours, no, I said it was between now and 8 o'clock tonight. You knock the door tonight, I'll give you $100. I text him the next day and he was supposed to ask me for the 100. I go, did you do it? He goes, I didn't do it. Even with the $100 on the line. And he didn't do it, probably a combination of concerned of how the person was going to respond. And he didn't feel he earned that $100, even though I offered it to him for real. He was like feeling bad about asking for the 100, I'm guessing the $100, even though he earned it based on our agreement. And so I said, okay, fine. You didn't do it today. Do it. You didn't do it yesterday. Do it today. I'll still give you 50. And if you don't do it today, tomorrow I'll give you 25. And then if you don't do it then, I'll give you $5 the first door you knock. And then he didn't do it for 50. And then at 25, he texted me and he said he talked to somebody on his dog walk. I'm like, bro, that wasn't the agreement. I didn't say he get $25 for talking to somebody on a dog walk. You got to knock the door. But see, he was unwilling to do this. Not forever. Hopefully he'll shift. But he was so strong in his thinking, he couldn't get himself to knock a door for $100. So your brain is a GPS. Whatever you're telling your brain, whatever you're telling yourself you can't do. If you have a complaint about your marriage, that's how your marriage is going to occur to you. I'm the world's greatest husband. I'm not comparing myself to you. If you're a husband, I'm not comparing myself to you. Or if you have a husband, I'm not saying I'm better than your husband. I'm saying I'm the world's greatest husband as a state of being. So I show up in that way in how I interact with my wife. So this is like big stuff. This is really big stuff. So I'll wrap with this. I lost my picture here. Where did my picture go? Let me just look one place and see if I can locate it. And let's see. I'm just gonna guess that it's here, and it might not be. Let's see if it's here. Okay, I'll just tell you the story. So Rick Barry, NBA Hall of Famer, I wanted him to coach my son in basketball. And so I prospected him, and I cold prospected him over Facebook. He wasn't my friend. I sent him a direct message over Facebook, and I said, hi, Rick, my name's Eric Lofholm. I'd love for you to coach my son in basketball. We'll come to you, and we'll just show up at your gym there, and you can train us for a little bit. We'd love to do that. And if you could spotlight me again, that'd be great. And so I sent him this prospecting message. And if you were sitting next to me, you go, what did you just do? I sent a Facebook message to a guy who's not my friend named Rick Barry, who's an NBA Hall of Famer, asking if he would work with my son in basketball for 30 minutes. And you go, oh, you said he's not your Facebook friend? No. You don't know who you are? No, it's cold outreach over Facebook. And Rick Barry's in his 70s. You go, well, what do you think's going to happen? Well, he's either going to message me back. Well, first he'll either ignore me or he'll message me back and he'll say something like this. Eric, thanks for the request. I'm Rick Barry. I'm busy. So sorry, I can't help your son. Okay, so you're asking me now. You go, Eric, so you don't think he's going to say yes? No. Then why did you do it? Because it's possible. It's possible that he's going to say yes. And when I prospected him, I won. And shocking to me, he Facebook messaged me a couple days later and said, I'm in Alaska on a fishing trip. And here's my cell phone. Call me on Tuesday. So I called him on Tuesday. And I ended up closing the deal. I didn't know this. He lived in Colorado. My son and I at the time lived in California. I still do. My son's in Nevada now. We flew to Colorado. He gave my son 3 hours of training with this elite basketball player. That was all created. I'll put it up on the screen one more time. Let's see. It was, let me go back to my, there we go. There we go. Oh, cool. There it is. There's my photo. That's why I couldn't find it. This miracle was created with my mind, but I had to take the action. So what this was, it was this formula. I took the action, but what was above the action? It was the thought and language. And the thought was, wouldn't it be cool if Rick Barry would work with my son, and I'm going to do what I can to create that. And who I was being was committed to my son. That was the state of being that I was coming from when I prospected Rick Barry. But here's the great news, guys. Anybody can do this. There's nothing. I'm a former cook at McDonald's college dropout. Anybody can do this. This is the formula. And so what I have here on the screen is a couple of next steps. If any of you would like to do any further training with me for free, I have a planning class that I'm doing for my community. It's similar to this, but different. It's coming up in a couple weeks. And so if you want these, just say send it all, and I'll send you everything, and you sign up for whatever you want. So I got a planning class that's free over Zoom. You email or text me to say send it all. And then in January, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, I'm doing a 15-minute Napoleon Hill lesson Monday through Friday for all of January. So I'll send you the link for that if you like Napoleon Hill, if you want to do 15-minute motivation with me once a day. That's free. You can invite your friends if you want. Then the last one, if any of you would like to explore coaching with me, I mentioned some of the agents that I've worked with, and like I can do, we can surgically remove thoughts from your mind is really the concept, and help you be the best version of you. And so if any of you are looking for coaching or want to explore coaching, just text or email me, send it all. I'll send you all the information, and then just respond to whatever you're drawn to. And with that, I'll bring our host back on, and we can take the call in whatever direction.
Thank you so much, Eric. I actually love Napoleon Hill, and I loved your presentation. So a real heartfelt thanks there. I was looking in the chat box. I don't know if I missed anything. Colby's probably looking as well, but I did notice there was a question from somebody in there. I think it was Diane Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Diane, if you want to just
say, maybe Diane can just ask it herself.
Oh, Eric, what advice do you have for keeping your focus on the state of being and not getting distracted by a lot of the craziness that enters our lives every day, every minute?
Great question. So here's how my coach teaches it. You've got dog A and dog B. And dog A is I'm unfocused. And dog B is I am focused. So the question is, which dog grows? I'm unfocused or I am focused? And the answer is whichever dog you feed. So if we step back and sit with this thought of who's in charge of my thoughts, and the answer is I am. So what Steve Hardison teaches is to create a declaration. It's a list of statements, and you'd review that as part of a morning routine. Look at your goals as part of a morning routine, and you want to guard the inputs into your mind. So I used to do some stock trading on the stock market, and I was noticing energetically in my body, because the stock market does this. I don't like how that felt in my day. So I said, you know what? I'm going to remove that activity because it's negatively impacting how I'm thinking. So we can control our inputs doing like what we're doing here. You all gave me the opportunity to guide your thoughts for the last hour by being here. So when you get in calls like this, you listen to podcasts, you review your goals, you review your I am statements, you work with mentors, the people you associate with, and you really start noticing, like, what am I putting into my mind? And I'm really intentional with that.
Okay, that's great advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to share, someone messaged me privately during this call, and they are not yet in real estate, but are getting their license and are interested in exploring this as a career for themselves. And when you were talking a little bit about going for bigger deals, they said, you know, why would an agent not have larger goals? Why would they not go for the gold? Like, wouldn't that make the most sense? Because they're not in real estate yet and looking to understand this. And it kind of just occurred to me, like, you know, that's kind of profound in a way, because she doesn't have that limiting belief yet that a lot of agents have created them for themselves, operating in whatever niche they've built for themselves that they feel they're not breaking out of. So I just wanted to share that because I thought it was worth sharing.
Yeah, sometimes there's value in not knowing, and then you just go out there and you shoot big and you make it happen. So that's great.
Great observation, Cole. In wrapping up, unless somebody else has something. Oh,
Yeah.
there's a hand. Frank, I didn't see it. Sorry. Can we?
Yeah, just make sure you unmute, Frank.
Eric, this is an aha moment for me because I'm big on affirmations, but finally I'm realizing there's a distinction between affirmation and declaration. Don't do.
Yeah, it's a really powerful thought, because the declaration is that means if I blow up at my kids and I'm being unconditional love, I got to go clean it up. But if I'm just affirming it, I don't have to do that work, right? If I'm affirming that, you know, I'm a master prospector, but I'm not coming from that position, I don't have to do anything. It's just I can have this thought of I'm a master prospector, but I'm not being it, right? And it's where it's like the rubber hits the road. Like, we got to do the work and really show up in that way. And we all can. We all have that ability to do it. And I'm working with this one gentleman, and he's been talking about how he wants to be disciplined with his eating, and he eats great in the morning, and then at lunchtime he eats great, and then 5 o'clock on, it all goes south. And then what happens at 5 o'clock? It goes south. He's like, Eric, coach me. I'm like, you need to make, you didn't need to do it, but the opportunity is to make the not eating the food create a sense of accomplishment. So I drink black coffee and I like it with the sugar, but I like the discipline of the black coffee more than I like the sugar. And so it's a way of looking at it. Like, I like the discipline of prospecting 25 or more a day more than the not doing the prospecting. And our brain will take the path of least resistance. There's also a question from Dylan in the chat on expanding on agent attraction mindset with the larger deal mindset. And so the thing with agent attraction is that, let's say somebody's been a real estate agent for 20 years. For 20 years, they've been trained to think a certain way. Open houses, networking, you know, working with buyers and sellers, and that whole conversation for 20 years. Now you come and you start doing agent attraction. It's a different business model. It's a different sales approach. In a real estate transaction, oftentimes there's a time-sensitive event that's creating the urgency behind the transaction. In other words, a job transfer. There's a time that they have to go to the new job. We got to sell. We got to get the new house. So you don't have to create urgency. The urgency is already there if they're in a place where they need to move. And so with agent attraction, let's say somebody's doing well at XYZ real estate office. There is no time-sensitive event. So it's a different type of sale. It's got to be approached different with a different mindset. And a lot of agents come from the position of, got to put food on the table. So got to do production. I can't do agent attraction right now, but check this out. If you reached out to an agent and you did it electronically, like a Facebook message or a text or an email, it only takes 2 minutes. So the math on that is you can reach out to 5 agents a day, taking 2 minutes per, that's only 10 minutes a day to do agent attraction. So you do 97% on production and 3% on agent attraction. That's different than I got to focus on production. I got to put food on the table. Absolutely. But you can do both. I'm not saying 50-50, but allocating some time and understand it's a different business model and it requires a different mindset. So if you're open to that, there's some huge possibility, but it does require some change in thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I have just one comment I'd like to add, sort of a question. Just for me personally, when it comes to prospecting, something that I've noticed is that I experience a lot of fear around rejection, which you spoke a little bit about. And kind of like your analogy with the black coffee and the sugar, you know, you like the feeling of accomplishment more than you like the taste of the sugar. And really getting myself there has been challenging at times. That fear kind of becomes louder than, you know, the possibility of success. That, like, you know, I guess it really comes with doing it more and more and more. But you know, if you have any advice for that, pushing through that fear, really pushing through those fearful moments where you really fear being rejected, so that you can start to taste some of the accomplishment and really, you know, I don't know. Guess I'm not really sure what the question is, but I have a lot of thoughts.
I'll give you a technique you can do. Think of the fear like the volume on the radio knob on your car.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you used the word louder. Makes sense. The fear gets louder. I'm turning up the knob on the fear, but we can turn it down. So you can just notice if you're experiencing fear, which is just part of being a human being. If you're experiencing fear, you can turn the knob down and you can sit with and be with the fear and like what's creating that. And it's probably being created out of your thinking. So I'm focusing on how this person is going to respond. I'm focusing on the outcome not working out well for me. And so if you're focused on that, like think of the example I gave with the woman in Texas, and she goes after a $3 million listing. I'm not even having her focus on closing the listing. I mean, if she closes it, great. Focus on delivering a quality presentation as a mind exercise to get your mind to expand. Because once she's got 5 of those under her belt, she'll be a different human being.
Right.
So those are some ideas to consider.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Well, if anyone has any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. We've got someone with a hand raised. Do you have time for one more?
I do, but I want to say one thing and then I want to hear from her. Colby, how many times did I prospect you in order to book this?
You were persistent.
Probably 7 times.
Yeah, I reached out, guys, 7 times.
Yeah.
To give a free talk that I'm not even being paid for. Okay? Because that's how bad I want the success in my business. Because like here I can get in front of a group of people and I can build a relationship where we can continue to do this maybe once or twice a year. And so if I reached out twice, like most people are like, oh, 2, that they're not interested. It's like, no, I'm follow up till they buy or die. I'm going to come from a position of commitment. And I got this opportunity to be with all of you from that position, but we all can do that.
Well, and the funniest thing about that, Eric, is that we wanted to do this, and we allowed, you know, busyness and other things to get in the way. And every time you reached out, I kept saying to Colby, oh my gosh, isn't it great? Eric called us, you know, is reaching out, where you could have a limiting belief of, oh, they don't want to talk to me. But we actually did want to talk to you. So because you reached out so many times, you made it happen. And we appreciate that so much. But let's get Desmarie in here before, I hope I'm not butchering your name. And then we can wrap because we want to be on time. We have you on mute. Oh, there you are.
Awesome, Eric. Thank you so much for your persistence. And Kobe, thank you so much for putting this together. So, one question, maybe two. What I realized that I am, or that I was having problem with, is the fact that as a newer agent who only closed 3 deals, I just felt in my mind going to a listing that's like over $1 million will put me in a position where they would ask, okay, how many transactions have you done? Because I think experience and proof of your track of your record plays a big role. So this entire time I was like, okay, I need to close more deals before I could feel more qualified to go into the higher listing. But after hearing this presentation, I'm like, yo, y'all got me messed up because I'm about to hit up Calabasas and Encino area. So I just wanted to hear like some feedback and those thoughts of not having the track record of saying, hey, I've closed, this many deals.
Yeah. Well, as I was sharing in the class, you delivering those presentations is going to expand your mind. There's that. Here's the other thing. In real estate, it's one of these industries where it's not like people are always going to the number one agent. I don't think I've ever hired the number one agent. In the 3 or 4 deals I've done just owning homes and condos in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever sought out nothing wrong with being number one. That's great for people that are number one, but people will hire an agent for a variety of reasons. And one of the things that you can do if you have fewer transactions on your belt is you sell the benefit. Always look for the benefit. So what's the benefit if you haven't closed that many deals? You can roll out the red carpet. I'm going to go the extra mile for you. I've got time right now to be on call. You don't have to overcommit, but just you could sell the benefit of where you're at and you'll get deals. Just put yourself out there. Every time you present, you're going to get better and you're going to get your fair share of deals. And we all started somewhere.
That's
I
true.
remember when I was 28 and I started, and I would call up a real estate office, for example. Hey, I want to be a guest speaker at your sales meeting. And they go, we just had out Brian Tracy or the Tony Robbins trainer. I never heard of you. What makes you different? And then I'd play a card in my hand that I could play. And I'd say, well, did Tony Robbins or Brian Tracy come to your office? They go, well, no, it was one of his trainers. I go, well, I'm the guy. I'm going to come to your office and I'm local and I'm going to build a relationship with you.
Okay.
And they go, well, how many, like this for real estate? I'm not an agent. I'm a sales trainer. They go, well, how many homes have you sold? I go, well, I haven't sold any. You sound kind of young. How old are you? I'm 28. You're 28. You never sold a home and you want to teach my people how to sell homes? Yeah. And sometimes they let me in. And now I got the resume and I got Brent as a client. I'm on the podcast. I got the books and, I've got all the stuff. But when I got started, I had to go with what I had. So that's what you got to do. And you can go and become great.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you mentioned Brent, and we want to just say thank you to everybody who's been here. Special thanks to you for pursuing and hosting this amazing training for us. And this is something that we are excited to say that we are going to continue to do in the new year. I'll let Colby give the details, but Brent will actually be our first speaker in the new year. And if he's still, I don't know if he's still on the call, but a big shout out. Thank you for being here. Is Brent here? Brent is showing up as Eric again. Maybe he wants to, did you see? I saw Brent and Brent, did you want to say something about that? You're on mute.
Yes, I keep flying across your screen and I have to click on the Eric Lofholm and hit rename. So it was kept moving. I about to type in my name. I don't know why I'm showing up as Eric. So
funny.
wait. Oh, it keeps moving. This is so weird. Hold on.
I'm sorry. It could be because I just made you.
Hold on. We're gonna, I think, okay, there it is. Brent Gove. There. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brent, you're going to be with us in January, right?
I see
What's it
Glenn
say
Sanford now.
Glenn
Oh.
Sanford. I upgraded myself. I love it.
You are the world.
So yes, I'm coming. Is that January the 8th, I believe?
Yes. January 8th, we are going to be launching regular masterminds and training calls, and Brent has agreed to be our first speaker. So for those of you who don't know Brent, he's been a leader in this industry for 26 years. He's our sponsor at EXP. He's sold like over 4,000 homes in his career, and he is a very in-demand international speaker. And if you've been lucky enough to see him speak, you know it's not to be missed. So I'll let him say a few words, but definitely stay tuned for more info on that.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. So Eric, great job today, man. It's absolutely phenomenal goal setting, planning, mindset, everything. Loved it. You're the guy you paid, was it $45,000 to share your nugget with us? So we don't, I mean, that's what is it called? OPE, other people's experience. It's a much less expensive way to learn. And sometimes you pay for that, and sometimes you just get to benefit from that if you're paying attention. But I also think it's good to pay. The more you pay, the more you pay attention. I bet you, Eric, when you dropped 45 G's on that guy, you were there for 8 hours to milk every little bit of juice out of that blackberry you could get, right?
Right.
Absolutely. So, man, I'm going to be kicking off 2024 with a bang. It's all attitude. It's your energy you bring. Like right now, you wouldn't know it, but I have a splitting headache and I'm sick as a dog. I could not be. I'm going to bed after this. That's what I'm doing. I'm literally going to hit end, and they're already hanging up on me, but I'm going to bed. You know what I mean? So that's stupid. No, it's funny. I'm just kidding. So, anyways, the bottom line is, attitude is everything, and it doesn't matter how you feel. It's a decision that you're going to look at the positive, not the negative. It's the decision that you're going to focus on what's good and not what's wrong, because what you focus on expands. Like if you're all obsessing over Hamas and Palestine and the Jewish people, and you're watching all that crap, and it's horrible what's going on. Doesn't matter what side you're on. It's horrible what's going on. But bottom line is, if you spend your time there, it will affect your output. It'll go down. Don't watch that stuff. Stay focused on the good stuff, because you're not going to be able to change what's going on. Say your prayers, and we pray for the Ukraine. We pray for what's happening in Israel and Palestine. But bottom line is, you got to get it done for your family. So we're going to be talking about some real tangible information you can implement to really have a different 2024. Some of you may have loved 2023. Great, keep doing what you're doing. But if you don't come up with a new strategy, and I'll just end with this, if you don't have a plan of action that you will execute on, like end of story, period, then you're going to repeat 2023 and 2024. So I'm going to help you with that. Eric just helped you with that. We are here to help you guys. We love you. And come out and see me in Maui, end of January. We get our mastermind, about 150 people, very small, quaint, well-watching season. Get your ticket. Go to brentgove.com. You can do that. Or you can come out to Cabo in March, first week in March. It's my birthday. Come hang out in Cabo, where it's the most popular mastermind. We do about 1,100 people. Glenn Sanford's going to be there. Michael Valdez, the president of the company. It's a big deal. So, but if you feel like Maui, we'll see you in Maui, end of January. Again, all the information for Maui Mastermind and the Cabo Masterminds at brentgove.com. And Eva and Colby and company, you guys are amazing. Thanks for having me, and I'll see everybody January 8th.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Eric, and thank you to everyone who's attended. Really appreciate it.
Yes, if there's any questions.
Good to see you, Dylan. I forgot to say Dylan. Hey, Dylan, good to see you, buddy. Bye-bye. All right.
If anybody wants to know about Maui, we were there last year, so we can give you the crib notes. A lot of fun.
That's good.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Cole, nice job. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Bye.